All right. We're back and ready to continue. Okay, so ready, current stage. Change font for main title for each course article. So we can definitely do this because we put those under H1 tags, and so I can do anything under there for that. Now, the question becomes, what font should we use? What fonts do I have access to? Do I set anything up? Okay, so I have, okay, for my monospace fonts, I have JetBrains Mono that's coming in. I could add another font in. I don't really have like a font that's like Brooks builds. We have font sans serif. Font sans serif. Okay, so we have Paduk, Poppins, Average Sans, Headline font, so I could create a variable for article title fonts. I don't know if I would consider this a headline font, but maybe it is. So if I do headline font, so course contents, this would be course content H1. And I want a font, I think it's font family. I think that would be it. Oh, that actually just makes it the same as this. These two are the same. So we have, this is our, can I see what font this is? Yeah, okay, font family, headline font. Okay, all of the H's are the headline font. And so what we want is this one to be not headline font, right? I can't change you. What fonts do I have access to? Well, what are these other fonts that we have? Okay, so we have Hadouk. Okay, so if I copy you, so I don't want that one, I want you. And I update you to that. It doesn't really look that different. Okay, the next one is Poppins. Oh, that's decently different. Now, if I center these two, over here, that might make it look better too. Okay, so let's try Okay, so we'll update you. And I want to go into course access articles. Oh, that is just BB course content in here. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I actually have to do this inside of BB style here. So we can do course content there, and I can do text align center. Okay, I think that's good. All right, so that grabs this. Okay, so now I kind of like this a little bit more. So it's a lot different than the rest of these titles. And it's centered like this where everything else sort of looks the same. Okay, I like that. All right, so what do? We are centering course article titles and making them a different font. I thought I was using local. I'm now kind of surprised that that was working. Oh, it's because no matter what, it's still grabbing that other information. So that will be fine. Okay, so all right, so now if I hit refresh here, there's our new title. It's centered and it's a different font. And if I go to any one of these other ones, it looks much better. So very nice. Remove section title video. Yeah, so initially I was thinking, oh man, shouldn't I put like a section title video? But as overlaid mentioned, was it overlaid? Yeah, as overlaid mentioned, yeah, it's kind of redundant. You can see that it's a video. So I can make the video, I can just remove that from all of the article content. So everything that has, okay, so how many of these do we have? We have I have a lot of rows in here. So this will be a nice fun thing to work on. See, that one doesn't have it. I clicked on the one that didn't have it. Cool. Oh, I wonder if I can do a query. Okay, so add a query content. I guess like. Okay, so we have a video in there. All right, so now I can see I have how many did it find? Custard Beard, hello. How are you doing today? All right, so I have a little bit over a page worth of these articles. So this will be fun. You're doing well? Excellent. I'm doing pretty good. We managed to update our web app with the hardest part, which was the mobile development stuff, and now we're working on just sort of smaller other things, which is nice to have. And so, unfortunately, the thing I'm working on right now is a little bit off screen, but it's a little bit boring. But I'm trying to do it as quickly as I can. What I'm thinking of is that maybe in the future I should remove the video from the markdown itself, and then I can have that be a separate thing, and then I can inject that into the screen wherever I want. That might make the most sense. You started building a component library in Yew today, transferring a load of code you've written in React. Was good fun. Nice, excellent. How are you liking Yew? Embedding the CSS was the challenging bit. Okay, I'll also yeah, very good. Creating React component libraries was always horrific thanks to Webpack, but in Rust it all just works. It is amazing how all you have to do is switch to a really strongly type system, and everything just works. Yeah, I feel like the same way. Trying to create a library in any of the front end frameworks that are JavaScript based kind of sucks. Embedding the CSS with a challenging bit. Yeah, what I ended up doing, I have a centralized CSS file that everything gets. And then I have also CSS for custom stuff inside the component. I have some ideas of how I might be able to do that for everything else. I'm not completely sure. So like in the future, I might change that. I think this one doesn't. Oh, that has the video at the end. But again, I can remove the solution. It goes there. You end up writing a build.s step and write a function in the component library that wrote the CSS to disk file. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, for me, I've been using Stylist, and I'm really happy with it. Yeah, but yeah, feel free to share that. You like Sass? You started using Grass. Oh, I haven't heard of Grass. What is Grass all about? Like what is its defining feature? Okay, so it's basically the Sass command written. Okay, so it's a Sass parser. So I don't have to use any of my own stuff because I'm using Trunk, and Trunk can compile Sass for me. So I don't have to worry about it. I wonder if they're going to use something like that. Oh, you put your Sass in a separate library, not the main web app. Okay, I put my Sass in the component library because it's kind of necessary to run the components. So because it's necessary to run it, I wanted it together. Yeah, so you needed a way to export it from the library into the app, which totally makes a lot of sense. So in that case, yeah, that does make a lot of sense to do. You basically ironed out the approach, and now you just need to write a crap ton of component code. That's ain't that the life of component library writing, right? But where does this thing have video? Oh, video. Okay, I need all right. Let me update. I want like hash space video. Much better. Back to finding things correctly. You only person streaming Rust this morning? Yeah, there's still not that many of us, are there? Oh, you bought the Shenzhen game as well. Nice. I like every time I stream Shenzhen, I'm always like concerned that like, is this gonna be the last time I'm gonna be able to stream it because I'm just gonna get stuck and not actually solve anything the entire stream? But then we solve at least one thing, which makes me feel better. You blame me entirely. I'm sorry. I don't think it's that expensive though, right? So it is a fun game, and it's hard but fun. Ironically, I find the electrical engineering parts a lot harder for me than the programming parts. Like if it was just programming, like I felt that TIS was easier for me. Oh, you streamed Stationeers this weekend. Oh yeah. I've heard about that. You mentioned it, right? Yeah, you told me about that. I added it to my list. of things to check out, but I have so many things and games to look at. It's like someday. It is. I did notice it's in pre-release, so maybe once it goes 1.0. Okay, I'm down to the last page worth. The big issue with Shenzhen is the code length and pin limits. Yes, that's also a big part of it, is the limitations of that, which I think is part of the pin limitation is the electrical engineering part that gets me. Okay, last 4. Okay, that's it. They're all done. So now if I hit refresh, the video title will be gone, and all we have is just the video, which is nice. And if we go to our assessment, and I don't think let's see the challenge. Yeah, we still have video at the top here. I think this was in the SQL X Rust. I had the assessment, and this one has the video at the bottom down here, but it's in the solution section, which makes total sense. So I think this is, I think we can mark this as done. Redesign course article navigation to show that we can click on an article. Yeah, so right now, when we're in here, this is not necessarily easy to know that we can click on this to navigate to it. So I'm actually thinking of adding in a title up here for like course navigation. Let's see. So I put this inside of collapse. So I wonder if I can do course nav. Ooh, course nav is its own component. BB course nav. Ooh, okay. So BB course nav. I wonder if I should have like a title in here. Okay, so we just have a UL. Oh, so I wonder, we already have a, let's see. Do I want a title? So if I just have like a div, or this would be probably be a section. Okay, and ad is going to start in about a minute. I feel like I missed a ton of when ads were starting off this morning. Probably because I was in focus mode and we were getting all the CSS stuff done. Okay, so what should this title be? I'm thinking this is like course course articles. So I want a level to be maybe title level. I think this would be like a 3. But maybe even lower, maybe like a 6 or something like that. I want this to be centered, so we can have a line. Okay, so if I do that, I do need to switch over and use this. Okay, I like it. So now you have our course articles. Now, how do I make that I can know I can click on them? I can make like a hover state. Where like if I hover over it, it like turns a different color. What would that be? See, so I have okay, so course nav. So I could do something like course nav. When I have an A link. Oh, you're right. Hovers don't work on phones. That's true. You have a call to action, which is a pill shape. Yeah, so if I have, is there an icon that represents like clicking or something? Like something that represents a clickable thing. An arrow in a circle? Maybe. This was what? Oh, I have to create an account to actually read it. Medium. Ooh, we can go to Oh, you're talking about like these? Yeah. Well, in this one, when you, okay. Yeah, okay. So let's go to Google icons. This used to be over on the right, didn't it? And we can try to find something that looks good. Yes, that chevron that you're talking about, that could be something. I don't want to open in new. That doesn't make any sense. But maybe they have an open. Menu open. Open in full. Expand content. Oh, it's not exactly right, but I think it's closer. Open in browser. Left panel open. Okay, so one of these could be good too. I feel like maybe just the upper right arrow. What if I just do an upper right arrow so like it doesn't have, it's not like open and full, which is the expected to be expanded. So what if it was just upper right? So I could do like northeast, arrow outward, which is just like a slightly bigger arrow. Call made. The phone standard for a list like that is text separated by a horizontal rule with a right chevron, right aligned. Wait, what's the chevron look like? Oh, like this. Okay, so I could just do right chevron. Yeah, okay, so I just have some text and then a right chevron. Yeah, it's like great. It's the fun part about any kind of chat, right? It removes all the fun stuff. Yeah, so if I pull, let's just copy. Okay, let's save this SVG down. Okay, so I need to remember how this works. So we're gonna add in a BB icon type, chevron right. Okay, this goes into images. So I want to... Is there an images in here? No, the images is outside, right? Wait, no. Source. Oh, it's in foundations, images. That's where. Okay, so if I copy downloads, sure, access my downloads folder, chevron right, fill that. This is going to be into chevron right.svg. Okay, so we take that down. Okay, alt. Chevron right. Okay, so this is going to be chevron. Oh, so let's actually. I can make this so much better. What if instead of it call this chevron right? What if I call this open? So like, if I call you open, this is where you find Figma helps, as it frees you to think about just the design without fixating on code. Yeah, I understand that. I'm actually slow at like design tools like Figma, so it ends up just being faster for me to do it here than it would be for me to do it in Figma. Which is totally a skill issue. Okay, so you're good to go there. So now I should be able to just, oh wait, it's not, it's still in here. In course nav, I have the UL, we have props, articles, okay, create course nav item. VB course nav item. Okay, so here's our LI. Now, okay, so we can experiment with the chevron on the right and on the left. Let's try the right. So this would be, we have our title. And then this is, oh, this is the tooltip. Okay, tooltip. Okay, and then if you're completed, I also have that icon for the other thing. Okay. What are you? Okay, so we have title. Oh, is this just a gap that I have? Oh, I wonder if this is just a gap that I have. Quite a skill talking to coding. Yeah, I've been practicing that for a long time because when I was teaching, I often did like live coding. Like that was my primary method of teaching, was through live coding and live debugging of like student stuff. And ironically, sometimes now I find it easier to talk when coding than just trying to code without talking. So it kind of like broken my brain in that way, I guess. Okay, so if I put you here, so I don't need that. This just becomes the thing, right? So we're going to have a BB icon type equals BB icon type open. And then, okay, so the size is going to be normal size. Okay, well that's certainly a choice. It also has a border around it. Oh, that's fun. Okay, so let's first fix the size. So we can use the same size trick that we have here. So size equals BB icon size. Let's try tiny like the other one. Oh, normally you'd add this chevron in CSS. Yeah, I can totally see adding it in CSS. I would really love it to be to the right of this too, but yeah, I guess like the other question though becomes, is this really styling, or is this part of like the content of the display? And I can definitely see that in both cases. I think it would be a little bit hard for me to add it in CSS unless I was to add a span inside of HTML to then inject it in using CSS. But yeah. Okay, cool. So we have this. Do I want like a little bit gap more? Do I want that bigger? I don't know. I think this is fine. Oh, background image. Interesting. I've never thought about doing it with a background image. I would have used CSS to just like inject it as the icon, like as text. But I guess in some ways, like to me, the component library part makes it more flexible to use in more different places. And so like if I now use, I can now like enforce through the component library that everything when I'm trying to open is always this icon. You can add some right padding and stop the image repeating and align it right. So I can add some right padding, stop the image repeating. Oh, and yeah, that's true. Now this should just work because then when I'm done with something, a check mark shows up over on the right, which is over here. And I am not logged in. I have to deploy this if I want to check that, or I have to just do the fun thing of like getting to logged in state, which is great. Do I want to be lazy and test it in production, or do I want to be good and test it actually here? Okay, so that is pointing to local. Okay, so it's not hitting save on here. Do I have to hit save on an actual mod file? Yes, that's what I had to do. You get sick of every PR just being about people stating opinions like fact. Even pull requests have that. Okay, so I need to log in or sign up. Oh, right. Locally, I have that problem. See who do I have? I think it's. Okay, have you? Let's see. You don't own this. Do you exist? That's a question, isn't it? Where email is like that. No users. Okay, cool. So how about oh, this one. Okay, I believe you do own this course. Okay, perfect. So yeah, this is what it looks like now when you've completed a course. We have our right chevron and then the completed check mark here, and then the green around it. Blah, hello. Welcome back. Login page looks clean. Yeah, everything is looking clean right now. Also, blah, take a look at the app on your phone. It should be a lot better now, and it should do what you want to do. So take a look at that. Hugh, you worked with a person who changed their hours to overnight. They could make changes at will, not respond to anyone, and the changes. That sounds like a management problem. Management should deal with that pretty much, and I don't see a reason why that should like just be allowed to live. Like a good team lead, a manager should be right on top of that immediately. Vivax, hello. How are you doing today? You worked at a place that refused to allow refactoring. Thankfully, not your team. I guess their code base was brittle. Yeah, it's kind of funny when the non-technical management, which is senior management at most companies, when you run into like a couple bugs that happened because like you refactored, they tend to get really scared and start like trying to manage the problem away by forbidding certain actions unless they give like a thumbs up to it. But of course, they don't know what they're doing, and all they're doing is just making sure that things don't work the way we want them to. So it's just unfortunate. You were the team lead. No one would step up because he was team too valuable. I would. Well, so a big part about my leadership style is doing things like, even if it risks my job and my position, and the safety and security of the team itself is far more important than any one individual, no matter how valuable they appear to be to the company, because a single bad actor inside of a team can destroy the entire team. And so you can go from, oh yeah, you like, this person does like 4 times more work than everybody else, to now that entire team is completely terrible because that one person destroyed everything. So they're never worth it. That person is never worth it. And so I would be the type of person who would take executive action on that team without permission from on top, because the team is the most important thing here. And then I would handle the repercussions. If the repercussions are that I'm fired, then that is what's happened. There was a code battle where 2 different devs kept reformatting the code with each check-in. Yeah, that needs to be stopped immediately. That like a manager somewhere needs to step in and deal with it. Let's see. Vivek, you're doing good trying to write a die-lint rule. I don't know if I've heard of die-lint rules. Custom lints for specific projects. Oh, interesting. Okay, so you could basically, dynamic linter rule. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I've never played with those before. Yeah, Toxic Genius is not worth it. Absolutely. Definitely not worth it. You implemented a 48-hour manual testing QA cycle because of botched update. Yeah, that's the worst. That's the worst. And the problem is, like, management ends up being, oh yeah, this is great. We totally have we've solved the problem, and all you've done is made things worse because now you can't make changes quickly. You work for a CTO who is an excellent dev, promoted into a job he couldn't do, and just spent all of his time complaining that no one was as clever as him. Yeah, so there's a lot of different, there's a lot there, surprising to unpack. So CTOs are an interesting breed because they do often come from like a dev side, and then you're thrust into basically a fairly political position at the very top. And if you can't speak business, heck, even if you can speak business, the just getting someone from the non-technical side to listen to you is incredibly hard. It's incredibly difficult to do, which really sucks. My favorite tidbit of knowledge that's really sad is that CTOs are the number 1 fired position. Like, of all positions, they're the number 1 fired. And it's oftentimes because CTOs are set up for failure at the highest level, because they're not trained often on like how to like work in a political environment that you get in most C-level positions. Maybe HR recruiters nowadays, because like the last couple of years have stretched that, but CTOs get released unfortunately quickly. And it's also the reason why it's really hard. Like, if you have a CTO that's backing you up for things, it doesn't mean nearly as much as having literally any other C-level position. Because if they're backing you up, but you don't have anything, don't have anybody else up, you're basically backing up somebody who might be fired anyways. Therefore, that's not helpful. Yeah, a lot of times like people think that CTO is just making technical decisions, and it's not. It's a lot more like there's a lot of product stuff. You really want to integrate as a CTO, you're trying to integrate everything into the rest of the company and helping the rest of the company integrate IT and like understand that. And that's tough. Let's see. Johnny, hello. Sorry I missed your message. I don't know how long ago that was because I don't have a timestamp. Why am I using Axum and not Actix? I have used Actix in the past and I did enjoy it, although that was before 1.0. I like Axum right now. It feels very familiar to other non-Rust based servers. So I will probably be going and creating more stuff with other backend frameworks too, like Actix though. So it's just Axum right now and then Actix and some other ones later. Possibly Rocket too. Sounds like a really fun challenge, but you can see how stressful it can be. Yeah, there's a book, Think Like a CTO. Yeah, that's probably good. There is a book called A Seat at the Table, which is extremely important for CTOs to read. And it's really about how you can try to convince the rest of the company, specifically the rest of the C-suite, to let you actually be part of the decision-making corner of the company. Because that's an unfortunate thing that like a lot of CTOs just aren't even invited to a lot of critical meetings where they should be invited to. One nitpick on mobile is that some of these subtitles feel like they should be left justified instead of center justified. Oh, interesting. I looked at it and I was like, oh, I should probably center justify it. Which one are you thinking of? The bigger subtitles in lessons. Yeah, and then this stuff, I never figured out a way to make this stuff, like to make these things look right. Okay, so I made H1s be, let's see, did I make everything be? Yeah, okay, so I made everything be, okay, I made the H1 be centered, and I could make the bigger subtitles and lessons. So I can make everything else be, oh, okay, if you look in deleting the Docker container, so let's go to here. Wait, is this one it? No, list. Okay, so you're talking about like things like objectives and content? So if I set you up for mobile, so you're thinking objectives should be left aligned? Okay, okay. Yeah, so I actually put this on here that everything is centered aligned for titles because like in my mind it was like, hey, that just makes sense. But we can easily remove that as part of this update here. So yeah, here it is right here. I override the left aligned and make everything centered. So if I don't need that, we just move you altogether.